What's up everyone, me GP2 here, and in today's video we're taking a look at a Pokemon that Niantic buffed for Season 17, and that Pokemon is Fletchling. Now, I don't think there's anyone else who can actually showcase Fletchling in the Great League, because I think I'm the only person crazy enough to have actually built a Fletchling, so this is probably going to be a pretty unique video. Now, the other move that I had to put on Fletchling is Aerial Ace, because the other two moves that Fletchling gets are Swift and Heat Wave, and neither of those are good. Swift is just a normal type move that's not very efficient in terms of energy, and Heat Wave just takes way too long to get to, so Fletchling's usually not going to last long enough to make it to a Heat Wave. And even if it does, it's not going to do too much damage because it's non-stab. So I decided to run Aerial Ace and Fly because of that. Now, Fletchling is pretty good against a few of the fighting types, but its best matchup is definitely against Trevenant, so I decided I really wanted to see if I can beat a few Trevenants with it, and I did find a few. And it was really fun, because Fly did a lot more damage than I expected it to. Anyways, that's pretty much it. Let's hop into the battles. Alright, so hopping into the first battle, we lead Serperior and a Greninja. And yeah, these battles are at pretty low elo, unfortunately, because the season just reset. So there might be a couple questionable teams by the opponents, but I was just not caring, and I decided to run Fletchling anyways. So they switch out into Clodsire, and I bring in Talonflame. Now this is kind of risky because if the Clodsire has Stone Edge, then Talonflame will get destroyed, but it doesn't look like they have it because they're going for Sludge Bomb, and we can go for a Flame Charge and go for another one after throwing an Incinerate for good timing, and it's not going to take them out, but I decided to shield again and try and get an Incinerate farm down because a double boosted threat of a Brave Bird should take a shield from pretty much anything, but the opponent thinks they caught a Flame Charge, and their Greninja gets destroyed, and in the back they have Trevenant, and this is exactly what I was looking for. Now, Fletchling might only be 890 combat power, but it hard walls Trevenant. We get a shield with the Aerial Ace, and they can go for a Shadow Ball, but even if they went for a Seed Bomb, it still wouldn't take out Fletchling. We can make it to a Fly, and Fly will take out the Trevenant, and the Clodsire just concedes the match, and we take that game. Hopping into the next battle, we lead Serperior into probably one of the most dominant leads, and that lead's actually improved by the fact that Whiscash is going to be running Scald instead of Blizzard, and the opponent switches into Abomasnow, and Talonflame's Incinerates are wrecking the Abomasnow. Now they go for an Icy Wind, and that actually hurts them, because it gives me an extra Incinerate worth of energy, so now I have a lot of energy that I can throw into the Whiscash. Now, they can go for a move here. I don't care if they go for a Scald, but they bait with a Mud Bomb, and now I'm at 2 Flies, so I should be able to take them out or force a shield from them. Now, this Fly will take him out, so they shield, and I try and get a snipe with Serperior. They throw a move, unfortunately, but we got a Vine Whip through, so we'll be taking him out. And in the back, they have Skarmory, and Skarmory is running Steel Wing. Now, this is not good, because Steel Wing is now a Poison Jab clone. It's just the Steel type, so it's going to have very good energy generation now. But we managed to get an attack debuff with the Leaf Tornado, and that's the most I could ask for. But Sky Attack doesn't even take out Serperior, and I go for an Aerial Ace at this point because I've debuffed him a lot. So that will do a bit more damage because it's single resisted, and now I switch into Fletchling. Now Fletchling loses CMP, obviously, but we have 2 shields to hide behind, so Fletchling is looking pretty good in this matchup. Now we can go for a Fly. Fly does a decent amount of damage considering it's resisted coming from a freaking Fletchling of all things. But they can go for a Sky Attack, and we'll be able to outpace them to an Aerial Ace. Now, I overfarm for some reason. I don't know why exactly. It's not like it's going to be throwing on good timing, but we're getting a shield with the Aerial Ace. Fletchling loses CMP again, and we're not going to live a Sky Attack, but we're especially not living a Brave Bird, but Serperior can just farm down, and we take that game. Hopping to the next battle, we lead Serperior into Wigglytuff. Now, since Wigglytuff's a Charmer, it does have a pretty heavy fast move pressure, but this matchup is made worse because Wigglytuff has access to Icy Wind, which both hits for super effective and debuffs Serperior. But since we immediately get an attack debuff from the Leaf Tornado, we're going to be able to do a lot better in this matchup. We actually get a shield with the second one, and we get another debuff, so even if they go for an Icy Wind's going to do virtually nothing. It doesn't even get Serperior into the red. Now, I go for Leaf Tornado here just because it's stab, so it'll do better, and this Leaf Tornado is not going to take him out, but I should be able to make it to another one. And now, if the opponent wants to go down 2 shields, they can take Switch, but they're giving Fletchling 2 shields, and I immediately switch it in, and they bring in Clodsire, and this Clodsire is running Mud Shot. So, we're not going to be having any real fast move pressure applied to us by this Clodsire, but Fletchling still is definitely not tanking a move. It's definitely not taking a move if they have Stone Edge, though. So, we're going to just keep going for Flies. Flies doing decent damage here. And at this point, I do make a slight misplay. They will make it to, like, 2 Stone Edges pretty quickly. So I should have gone for the back-to-back Aerial Aces. But I went for a Fly just because it's more energy efficient. But at the cost of that, I'm actually going to lose CMP to the Clodsire. And that's just going to get my Fletchling taken out. On the bright side, it's just an Incinerate advantage for Talonflame. But in the back, they have Credilli, and it's looking like I'm going to need a catch to save this game. I wait 2 turns, switch, and catch the Rock Slide. This is still almost not enough to save me, though. And I didn't have back-to-back Flies, so I'd have to go for back-to-back Flame Charges. But they outpace us to a Rock Slide. And Rock Slide's double super effective, so Talonflame gets destroyed by it, and we lose that game. Hopping into the next battle, we lead Superior into Ariados. This is one of the worst leads, so I immediately switch into Fletchling, and they're just going for a lunge straight away. Lunge users just love to do that, and now I don't expect them to shield a move, even if it's a flying type. And look at this, Fly still does a very impressive amount of damage, considering that was debuffed. If that wasn't debuffed, we would have gotten a farm down. But they can go for a cross poison, and it's not ideal, because it means that Talonflame is going to have to come in. And now they've seen my whole team, which is not the best. But in the back, they have Shadow Garchomp, so some nice spice from this opponent. Although that might just be because of the low elo. But I'm immediately going to switch in Superior. And Garchomp's going to go for a move. I shield it. I did not count their energy. And in the back, they have Arboliva, or however you pronounce it. I have not seen this thing very often. We go for a Leaf Tornado. We don't get a shield, but we get an attack debuff, and that's about the best you can ask for. We can go for an Aerial Ace, and that just puts him into farm down range. Now, I shield this move. I probably shouldn't have, but I remember thinking, like, I wasn't sure if this thing learned Sludge Bomb or not, because Pokemon like Sunflora learned Sludge Bomb, but I decided to shield it in case it might be. It isn't, though, but we get a shield with the first Leaf Tornado onto the Garchomp, and we can go for a second one. It'll do some nice damage, and we get an attack debuff, so nothing's taking out Talonflame. And because of the Incinerate buff, Incinerate actually will take out the Garchomp from this range, and we take that game. Hopping to the next battle, we lead Superior into Shadow Sableye, and this is a very neutral matchup. It's just that if we can go for a Leaf Tornado and get a debuff, then we just win this matchup. Now we go for a Leaf Tornado, and we get a shield, and we get the debuff, so that's just the best possible scenario. Now they don't have Return, so nothing they have has a chance of taking me out, so I can just let it go for another Leaf Tornado. Leaf Tornado will get them pretty low, and they will make it to a move here, but I'm happy taking shield advantage, because they're not going to be able to make it to a foul play in time, so this gives Fletchling a 6 quick attack advantage and a shield advantage. And so this thing should do pretty well now. Now they bring in a Pelipper, and we can go for Fly, and Fly does a significant amount of damage, and they're going to go for a move. Fletchling obviously has to shield, and they go for Weather Ball, and now I actually am baiting with an Aerial Ace. Now, I do think that baiting here is good, because if I get the shield, then I have 1 less quick attack to get to a Fly. So they're going to go for another Weather Ball, and they switch out into a Medicham, and I have to immediately switch into Talonflame here, because Fletchling would have to go for a Fly to take out Medicham and would not have enough energy left to take out the Pelipper. But we can just farm up to back-to-back Flies, and it looks like Talonflame will take this game. Now, Fletchling has a Fly Bank just in case, but they didn't have a move, so Talonflame will take this game for us. And that's a GG right there. Hopping into the next battle, we lead Superior into Defense Form Deoxys. Once again, neutral, but if we can get a debuff, then we're fine. So we go for a Leaf Tornado right away. And Leaf Tornado has a 50% chance to debuff, and we do get it. I was getting extremely good Leaf Tornado luck during these battles, by the way. But, so the opponent's going to go for a move. They go for Rock Slide, doesn't do much of anything. And we can go for another Leaf Tornado. Now, they've been debuffed already, so I don't care about a second debuff. But since Leaf Tornado's stab and Aerial Ace is not, it's better to go for the Leaf Tornado. Now we can go for another one, and we actually did win the CMP, and since we get an attack debuff, that's even better. Now they're going to go for a Psycho Boost, and they're already completely debuffed. They can just go straight Psycho Boost, because they're already as debuffed as they can be. But Superior, the ever-tanky Banana Boy, is able to live the counters and make it to a Leaf Tornado into this Medicham. Now we can bring in Fletchling, and they bring in Charger Bug. And this is not good because Charger Bug can hit us for super effective, but we have 2 shields, and Incinerate was buffed, and the opponent just gives up after realizing that they're just going to get farmed down, so we take that game. Once again, we see an Ariados on the lead, and this is not good, but this one's running Infestation, so we will be able to outpace him to an Aerialist. Now, I don't care if I get a shield or not, either one's good, and we do get a shield. And now the opponent actually throws an alignment after bringing Talonflame, or somewhat close to alignment. They go for a lunge, but that doesn't save them from the fact that they just gave me pretty much a full free Incinerate. We can go for a Flame Charge into Digger's V they bring in, and now I'm just going to go straight Fly. Fly is higher damage and slightly cheaper, but it doesn't give it a boost, but I don't care about the boost here, we'll be fine. Now, the Digger's V is not running Hyper Beam, apparently, so they're not going to be able to take out Talonflame. And they can go for another Fire Punch, but Talonflame's fine. They get a farm down, and leave with a good amount of energy. Now, in the back, they have Trevenant, and oh my goodness, is it time for Fletchling? Yes, it is. Now, they can go for a move, Shadow Ball, Seed Bomb. Trevenant is not hitting my Fletchling for anything, unless they're running Foul Play, in which, what? But so, we can go for a Fly. Fly takes out the Trevenant, and we should have plenty of energy to be able to take out this Ariados. Now, they go for a Cross Poison, and they get a boost, so all of a sudden, they actually might just be able to farm us down, which is unfortunate. But is Fletchling going to be able to make it? No, and we don't get the new mechanic. But that's perfectly fine, because we can bring in Superior. They go for a Cross Poison. It does a lot of damage, but we can just switch in Talonflame now. We get an Incinerate through. With the buff Incinerate, we'll take out the Ariados, and we take that game. Hopping into the next battle, we lead Superior into Medicham, and I'm going to switch out into Talonflame, see if they have a Rock type, and they have Carbink. Now, it's a shame that we have to sacrifice Talonflame to bait out the Carbink, but at the same time, we did need to bait it out, because Fletchling is awful into Carbink, and we do a bit of damage to the Carbink, but not that much. Now we can bring in Superior, and Superior should be able to take care of this Carbink, but we do need to have a little bit of HP left to deal with the Medicham. Now we can go for a Leaf Tornado. Leaf Tornado will not take him out, but it'll do some nice damage, and we do get in a debuff. Now that's nice because now we can easily no-shield this Rock Slide. It won't do too much, and I decide I'm going to try and go for Farm down here, but I just barely don't because they would have made it to a move right after this Rock Throw. But they no-shield, let it through, and they bring in Lickitung. Now, I throw an Aerial Ace. I did not even see what they had brought in at that point, so I just blind through the Aerial Ace. But they brought in Lickitung, and I go for a Leaf Tornado here. Leaf Tornado does get the shield, which is nice, but they're just not debuffed. Like, we didn't get the debuff, and so Fletchling can tank one Body Slam, but it really doesn't tank it very well. So if we had gotten that debuff, we might have been able to do better. But now Fletchling is not in the best position, because it's down shield. Like, all shields are down, and it doesn't really tank a Body Slam very well. Now, I need to overfarm, leave with enough energy to take out the Medicham, but the problem is that we're too low at this point, so it looks like this battle's over. We can go for Fly. Fly does some good damage, but I need to get a farm down, and Lickitung lives on like 1 or 2 HP, which is annoying, but we probably wouldn't have beat the Medicham anyways, because we didn't have enough energy. Hopping into the final battle, we lead Superior into Berserker. Now, Berserker is kind of bad for this team, but I immediately switch into Talonflame. The opponent brings in Medicham, so it's fairly obvious that their team is not structured to deal with Talonflame. Now, they shield the Fly, and that's pretty obvious that Medicham is their best response to the Talonflame, which means that I'm probably going to want to protect Talonflame. Now, I do realize that I live any move, especially because Psychic got destroyed by this new move update, but they go for a Power-Up Punch. Now, the thing about that is that Ice Punch still doesn't take us out, so we're going to be able to make it to a Fly. Now, we're too low for an Incinerate to actually register, so it doesn't really matter if I went for the Fly or the Flame Charge, because we're not even getting any Incinerate damage through. But the opponent brings back in the Berserker, and does not throw right away. So either they're trying to get back-to-back close combats, but now they're debuffed, so I don't have to shield anything from them now. So they can go for a Foul Play, but Superior does fine. Now we can go for another Leaf Tornado. Leaf Tornado doesn't really matter about the debuff at this point, but I switch into Fletchling trying to get the snipe, and I don't get it. But then go for a Foul Play, and that doesn't do much of anything. The opponent then brings in an Azumarill, and you might notice that that's Rock Smash Azumarill. Once again, this is pretty low elo. It's right at the start of the season. And Fletchling with Fly is actually able to do some impressive damage to the Azumarill, considering Azumarill's pretty bulky. Now the opponent's not even going to be able to get a farm down, as we make it to yet again another Fly, and this Fly will take out the Azu, and we take that game. Overall, Fletchling did pretty well. I wasn't having too high expectations for it, simply because of the fact that it's an 890 combat power Pokemon. It's just not very much built to do well. It was impressive how much damage it was able to output with Fly, though, so I was pretty happy about that. Now, I do think it would be better if it had more bulk, so I'm going to be trying out the more bulky normal flying type I have in Swablu, because Swablu does tank a hit quite a bit better, and it also did get buffed this season. So I'm really curious about how well it'll do now that it's been buffed. So make sure to stay tuned for that. Now, the entire team as a whole worked pretty well. I was able to bait out the rock ties with Talonflame most of the time, which was nice, but at the same time, Fletchling still wasn't able to do very well in the endgame, just because of its combat power. So, this team is definitely not one I'd recommend for climbing. I definitely recommend Talonflame as superior, but if you're thinking about running Fletchling, my advice is don't. It's just not good enough for it. Anyways, that's about it for today's video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one.